Ederson Oliveira here. This is the DNN monthly chat, and today we have a few, the usual suspects and a few other guests as well. We have Scott Wilson, Joe Craig, Joe Brickman as well as on the line, and Will Morganweck. And we are waiting for Will Stroll, but he didn't show up yet. So if he comes, he comes. If not, he has to explain himself later on. So I think that the first thing that we can start talking right away is the security updates that came about this week. That it's been a hot topic. Everybody's talking about that. People are fixing their sites, and I guess that I'm gonna start with just mentioning. I have the critical security update page in front of me. You guys can see that, and there's a patch that is live now, built by DNN Corp, which can fix that for DNN sites from 7.1.2 upward. And for versions prior to that, it is still affected, but the hotfix will not address that for older sites. And for older sites, there are bigger problems there, and they should be bringing those older sites up to a newer version of DNN. But let me see what else I can. And before I get Joe to talk a little bit about that, I think that Joe has quite a few things to mention about that. Let me just say that this is mostly caused by as a result of Telerik, and it's really an update to Telerik. So I strongly advise anyone running DNN 7.1.2 and upward to update their sites now. Ideally, they should do a full backup. A backup of the site files, a backup of the database as well. That's ideal. If that's too much, by any chance, there is at least 3 files that you need to back up before you do the hotfix, which are 1, the web config, and 2, I'm gonna show right on the video here. The second and third ones are 2 DLLs related to Telerik, telerik.web.ui.dll and telerik.web.ui.skins.dll. So if you have the web config and those 2 DLLs backed up, you should be pretty safe on trying to update and to use the hotfix. If something goes wrong on the site and for some reason it breaks, you can revert that back quite quickly by putting the web config back and those 2 DLLs. Now, as reported by Will, just yesterday I was watching the Southern Fried DNN user group, and Will was saying, and he can add to that there might be 2 problems with the hotfix. One is, in case you are already running, for some reason, a newer version of the Telerik controls, maybe a third-party module is the one that has already installed a newer version, or maybe for some other reasons. So that might be an issue that you may face. That's one. And the second case is that if you are running your site through a CDN, you might have to clear your CDN cache to make sure that things will work properly. Well, do you want to comment anything about those 2 potential issues there?
No, I think you covered it really well, Ederson. That's basically the 2 items that we've seen that can happen. And again, just to emphasize, if you are running a newer version of Telerik, you still need to reach out to Telerik and make sure that you get a most recent update.
Got it. And the thing is that you have to, it might be that you reach out to the vendor of the module that is has updated that DLL for you, and they will be the ones try to take care of that, So again, you have to be mindful, and it may get tricky because you may not know exactly why the hell the Telerik DLLs are updated there, which module might be causing that. So again, if you face a problem, maybe you reach out to the community. Maybe a community can help you out as well. Maybe on the forums, on the Facebook user group, maybe that will help too. But so far, I've personally updated about 10 websites. None of them we had any problems, and we are going through that on all our clients at DeskPaul. Not only that, but I've heard from Manage.com as well, which is one of the big hosting providers of DNN websites. They have done that update for their entire shared hosting websites, I don't think that they will do that for their clients that have, virtual servers or private servers there. I think that those clients have to take care of that themselves. I'm not sure, but I know that for their shared environment, they have done that through their entire client base. Joe, Craig, Joe, you had a point to make. I mean, do you want to talk about that?
I was just interested in the reports of problems, and I think you cleared that up fairly well. I have actually postponed updating some client sites till this was a little bit straightened out. So I'm feeling good. I know what I'm going to be doing late tonight, I think.
Got it. But here's another point that I want to make is that if by any chance the limit size of the files that you can upload to your DNN site are very low, let's say 8 megabytes or 10 megabytes, if that's the limit, you may face a problem there as well, because the hotfix is a little bit big. I mean, I think it's around 12 megabytes. So if you see that kind of problem, there is, I'm going to post a link in the video notes that will point you to a page on the DNN software website on how you can change the limit of the file size that you can upload to DNN. So again, that might be another roadblock that you may face if you have a very low threshold in terms of files that you can upload to your DNN website. What else we have here?
Hey, Anderson, a quick question maybe for Will or Joe. On the Evoke on-demand environments, do you guys update those on DNN Corp side?
Yeah, we've already taken steps to patch all of those. We did that at the same time we released the initial patch. So if you're running Evoke on Demand, you're already patched and covered.
Okay, that's a good point. We're talking about it in Blue Bolt internally because we have several clients on demand.
Yeah,
okay.
The other thing I wanted to add in here, Adderson, is because I've seen a lot of comments around just grabbing the Telerik DLLs and updating them in the bin folder. Even if you're running a new version of Telerik and maybe you got a commercial bits from somewhere, that alone is not sufficient to cover all of the issues. There are some specific web config entries that the DNN patch applies for you. So there are multiple things going on here, and you need to make sure you get all of those steps done. If you're going to try to do it manually, there are other areas that have to be addressed. It's not just a simple assembly change.
Perfect. Okay, so the message is clear. The hotfix needs to be installed as a regular module. It becomes, you don't have to add to any page on your website, but you have to install it as a regular module, so it can not only replace the files but also make adjustments to the web config. That's a great point. So last point that I want to make here about this is that now, how would you come to know whether or not your site may have been affected by that vulnerability already? How, that's a question that I asked myself, and there's a good point, which is run the security analyzer tool on your DNN website to see if there are any if there were any files recently changed, because that's one way of detecting if there's something going on strange on your DNN instance, on your DNN install. Is, are there any files that have been updated recently? That's one of the checkpoints that the security analyzer tool will allow you to make, or allow you to assess. So you should also run the security analyzer tool. If you have a more recent version of DNN, security analyzer is already there, it's already built in. If you have an older version, I don't recall exactly which version, but if you don't, then you can download it separately and install as a module, and then you can run the security analyzer to see if there might be anything suspicious going on your site, even if you have run already the update to the hotfix to your DNN site. I think that's it. Anything else anyone wants to add about this critical updates? Perfect. No? Okay, great. So moving on here, I would like to mention, and that's where I was hoping to have Will around, but as he's not around yet, or he will not come about, I'm just gonna briefly mention about that. It's about Hotcakes, the e-commerce solution for, one e-commerce solution for DNN, which became open source in the last few days. It has been maybe 2 weeks. It has been announced to have become an open source initiative. And one thing that caught me when I was downloading the version and trying to use it is, and I wanted to Will, Stroll to be around to comment on that, to talk a little bit about that, but is the fact that Hotcakes is not deployed at this point as a regular module as we know them. As a regular module, you get a package, you get a zip file, and you just go to extensions, upload, and it gets installed. In Hotcakes, they have decided to go in a slightly different direction, which is they deploy an entire what they're calling a CMS, which is nothing more, nothing less than DNN 803. They deploy that together with the module already baked in. So they have this this big package that you download and you can use it on its own. And again, I was hoping to get more insights from Will about that, but there's a blog post published by them talking about how it went open source. It does not address the fact that it goes together with DNN, but again, I was hoping to explore that conversation a little bit more with Will. But that's it. Hotcakes is now open source. You can download it. It comes together with DNN version 803. I have asked in their forum. I have their forum open up here. They will mention that you won't be able to run it yet on your versions of DNN. But again, that's as far the information that I have. Do you guys know anything about Hotcakes a little bit more? Scott, Joe,
Yeah.
Anybody?
We're using Hotcakes for one of our clients, and it's a pretty big site. They have 30 some thousand products. So, and I think at the moment, they're on a version 2 of the Hotcakes extension, and they're actually running Evoke. So what's interesting about the newer version that's open source is they're now on version 3. So they went open source, and they, I think around the same time or at the same time, announced the major upgrade of version 3 for Hotcakes. And when we looked at GitHub, because we're trying to determine what we're going to do with our client, because they're on Evoke, so obviously we're not going to take the packaged platform, the Hotcakes packaged platform version, but it does appear from the their GitHub that you can build the module standalone. They have 2 separate branches of code. They have the CMS branch, which again is like a fork of or just a clone of 8.03 platform, and then they have the module code. So I think where we're going to go, and again, we're still going to talk to Will and team about this, is doing our own builds of the module, because we're using it with Evoke. So we're just now evaluating that and seeing where that goes.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to have a follow-up conversation, a follow-up call with Will, because I think it's important for people to hear about those different aspects of things. I was actually planning on doing something funny with Will here, because they have something in their forum, in their Hotcakes forum. I'm gonna tell Will, I'm gonna tell everybody that, okay? I hope that you don't get pissed with me, but there's no reason. It's what you guys did. For some reason they have a feature on their forum that they replace DNN by CMS. So today I was gonna introduce the show as this is the CMS monthly chat, because then he would be replacing our voices as well. So again, they are really going, I'd say, beyond and above to, for some reason, to try to detach, hotcakes from DNN, and they have their reasons there. I'm sure that they are really justifiable. I just wanted to explore and I guess make a little bit fun of that as well. But that's
Well, you should talk to Joe Brinkman, because I mean, we talked for a couple of years about, that as the platform moved, it's become we have the ability to white label it. So and didn't wasn't Too Sexy Content talking about kind of doing a white label using the platform with their modules, and it's more or less it's more or less you're using it as you're packaging your module with DNN, almost like Evoke does, internally, where they use the platform, but then they package it in a branded release so I mean we're capable of doing that. So I don't think there's. But I do think it's funny that the actual project name is called CMS and GitHub too. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to put Joe B in a hot seat here, but if he wants to mention, he can comment, and if not, that's fine. So that's about it, hotcakes. I know that Will has moved on from Aero Consulting. He's running his own show now. So, and I know that because I had some communication with him that he is helping companies, putting together e-commerce projects with hotcakes as well. So I hope that I wish him all the best on his new venture, and I really hope that we can catch up on, a little bit more on hotcakes and what goes on behind the scenes. That's it. And they have a good forum. The only thing with their forum is that their replies are getting to my spam folder, so I don't see their replies, but that's a different topic here. So that's about hotcakes. DNN Summit. Joe, if there's anything new, that's fine. You can mention whatever is new. If not, you can just brush through and just say that it will be in Denver, Colorado next year, February from the 6th to the 10th, with 1 full day training and 2 days of sessions, and then 2 days in the slopes. It will be in the middle of the week, and it will be from a Tuesday to a Saturday. Anything else that you want to comment, Joe? Only if it's new stuff.
Well, I would say if you go to the DNN Summit website, you'll find the skeleton of the program sketched out there. What's happening on which day. We hope to have our call for speakers open shortly, and somewhat after that, we should have registration for the event open.
Perfect. Okay, great.
As you can imagine, with the conference being a 2-day conference rather than a 1-day conference, there are some changes we have to account for. But I think it's going to be the biggest and best DNN Summit ever, given that there's only been one so far. Make your plans to spend early February in Denver with us.
Perfect. And call for speakers is set up to start between July and August. Okay, great. Okay, moving on. I just watched yesterday, and our friend here, Scott Wilson, was presenting there. I've watched yesterday the Southern Fried DNN user group meeting, which goes online, and there's a few people in-house there as well. And there were 2 presentations. The first one was Bogdan Litescu. He is the owner of DNN Sharp, and he presented a new tool called DNN Admin, and it's a tool that will allow from within a single let's say interface, you can be interacting with multiple remote DNN websites, and you can be sharing you can be publishing content from one instance to another instance. You can be doing quite a few interesting things there, from one single location, being able to distribute and content throughout. So presentation was very good, and I know that eventually it will be available for everybody to watch. It's not available yet because, again, it was just yesterday at night. And that's it. That was the first one. The DNN admin platform presented by Bogdan Litescu. And by the way, the only thing there that you have to keep in mind is a great tool, but I would say but it's not a purchase tool. It's a SaaS type of tool. So again, if you want to engage on that kind of platform, there's a subscription that you have to go through. It's not one-time purchase. It's it's a subscription.
It was yearly or monthly?
Yeah, there is an yearly plan and a monthly plan as well. But yeah, it seems like a very interesting platform. So that was the first presentation. The second presentation was from our own Scott Wilson about the persona bar development. Scott, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've just been kind of taking the, what I did with the session I did at DNN Connect this past spring, and just reworking it. I did it as a lunch and learn internally at Blue Bowl, and then I did it for last night again. And so the next logical step is to start putting together DNN Heroes videos and start getting what you saw, Adderson, last night was probably the first video, really, or first couple videos where it's just more of an intro, and then we'll start getting deeper into React as we go. So that'll be coming very soon. I'm starting to work on that. So yeah. Perfect.
Very good, very good. Okay, so those were the two presentations of Southern Fried DNN user group meeting yesterday. Moving along here, one blog post that I saw from the community I found interesting. It's from our friend Jeff Barlow. He is talking about how to use SaaS for constructing DNN themes, and he goes through a few notes here, but then very quickly he jumps to a link where you can download a PDF of over 30 pages that he goes through extensive details, step-by-step details on how you can implement SaaS on a DNN theme, how you structure your theme. What else we have here? Yeah, where it also uses a Bootstrap 3.3.7, and we are pretty much about to go to Bootstrap 4. But again, it shows using Bootstrap 3.3.7 in the context of SaaS, and yeah, he shares some code base. Great tutorial if you want to get deeper into theming and how to use SaaS in the context of DNN. So that's the first one that I saw. What else?
Let me. I've been working with Jeff Skins for 6 or 8 months now, and he has a Bootstrap foreskin that I'm actually using on a site redevelopment. It's not only is it very nice, but the way he puts his things together, it's easy to get in and monkey up the works and modify the skin to what you're actually trying to do. So anything that has Jeff Barlow's name on it, I'm a fan of these days.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I love his skins as well. It's not only great out of the box, but it's a good baseline if you want to build on top of that. So that's the blog post. I saw also 2 posts done by Mitchell Sellers, not in the DNN community blog, but in his own blog, and I found that that I should mention that here. It's really about security and SSL, and as we know, SSL is not enough. It's not enough just to have SSL installed on your site. There are more things to consider. So he goes in details about what else you should consider on this blog post. And not only that, but he has a second blog post that he talks a little bit more about encryption and something called, which I never heard before. Let's Encrypt. It's an initiative, about encryption. Let's put it this way. It's an initiative about encryption, but he went through a lot of details here. There's also a white paper that he put together about SSL in the context of websites in general and DNN in particular. So you should definitely check it out, if you are. And we should all be interested in having our sites more and more secure, with Google, in a way imposing that we and penalizing sites that don't have SSL, are not secure yet. So something, a good reading if you want to get deeper into the security and SSL in the context of DNN, from our friend Mitchell Sellers. Next one here. Okay, so I always want to try, to bring maybe a new module that I came across, maybe a new release that I came across of a module or a theme that caught my attention. So today I'm bringing Tahoe from Mandips. They have just released that, I think, this week, and very, very flexible, very interesting theme, which comes with five content templates for different industries, which is one thing that I think that the theme creators in general, they fail a little bit, which is they create generic themes, but they fail to deliver on more specific industry specific solutions. So I think that this is an interesting initiative from Mandips, and you can see here they have a corporate, they have a travel, a restaurant, a medical, a spa, a one-page site as well. So very rich with a lot of different features and a lot of different packages as well. I think that they are releasing this theme with the potential to buy the other the other modules that they sell as well, and there are so many different packages here that they put together. So again, quality work. Mandip, he's always coming up with very, very great quality modules and themes, and he's very selective on the themes that he pushes forward. He's not putting themes out there every week. They are really selective when they do those very nicely and well done themes. That's what I bring today as something that I came across and I found interesting. What else we have? Okay, I'm not sure if anyone of you guys know Joe Brickman or Will Morganweck, if you guys want to mention that, but if we go now to the Forge, actually Forge is no longer on dnnsoft.com. If you try dnnsoft.com/forge, it redirects to the DNN store. I'm not sure if now the open modules that used to be placed on the Forge, if they are enticing people to put them in the DNN store, even if it's for free. I don't know if anyone would want to comment on that, but I just realized that if you put dnnsoft.com/forge, it goes to the store now.
Yeah, so Anderson, if you want, I can comment on that. I mean, I think one of the big things that we're trying to do is give one location where people can get access to everything. So whether it's free, open source, or paid, we'd like for the store to kind of be the home for that. So really encouraging. We started encouraging some of the Forge developers, I guess last year, maybe the year before last, to start putting things on the store and allowing it. We used to not allow it. So we opened that up, and then some people were starting to do it voluntarily. We decided to just kind of force it the rest of the way.
Perfect. Okay, so you heard the message. The message is, if you used to have things on the Forge, now the new home to put them in is the DNN store. And again, even if it's for free, I mean, just this past week I was downloading modules for open source modules and free modules from the store. But again, I was using the store for that, even if it's for free. So that's the message. If you have open source modules or free modules, you can just publish them in one central location. The DNN store is the place. Great. Okay. I want to comment about this because I had a great conversation with Sasha, and I'm gonna trash your last name, Sasha, but Sasha Troen. He is the creator of Open Content, which is an open source module for DNN that handles the content type creation. I mean, to be honest, to make things simple for people to understand, if you are familiarized with something like 2sex content, or even to a certain extent liquid content from Evoke, or to a certain extent Xmods, it's a very powerful open content. Is a very powerful tool that will allow you to create content types and will allow you to build forms for content entry and create templates for content displaying, like a list view, a detailed view. So recently we have engaged in consulting with a client that is using open content quite heavily, and decided to reach out to Sasha and ask him for a private session. So last Friday, just a week ago, we had an hour and a half meeting, and he really took his time to show me the tool, to show me how to use it. He listened to my questions, he addressed my questions, and my plan is that I've recorded the conversation, and my plan is to do some editing just to make it shorter and more to the point, and to release that so people can also be exposed to open content, which, to be honest with you, it's I tend to think it's an underdog module, and it's a module that people know that is there, but nobody uses it much because that's not much, I'd say, content around it, education around it. And I hope that this, video set, maybe it will be a 3-part video, will shed some light into that module, and it will give the opportunity for this module to get more exposure. And it is a very flexible module. It uses it. You can use brackets as there's a better term, but it's something related to brackets as a template strategy, and it can use Razor as well.
He's using handlebars.
Handlebars. That's the name, handlebars. Yes. So you can have templates built with handlebars and with Razor as well. So very flexible, very powerful. I mean, it is. If you manage content quite a lot, it's a module that you should definitely consider. And here's the interesting thing. We just spoke about Jeff Barlow. Most of Jeff Barlow's templates in open themes, they come with a lot of templates. And those templates are built with open content. So, I mean, you should definitely check out. I should be putting this live next week, and I will let you guys all know once this goes live to shed some exposure into open content. Okay, what exposure did you have to open content, Scott?
I took Sasha's session at the DNN Connect.
Perfect. Okay, great. Okay, so we're coming towards the end here, but I want to briefly ask, each one of our participants, and I'll open that up to Joe B and Will Morgan as well if you guys want to mention anything. But Scott, what are you working that is interesting, that is that, hey, I guess I think that you guys should know about this? Might be a technology, might be related to DNN. It may not be related to DNN. It might be a strategy or a new tool or a new car or whatever it is. But anything new, Scott, from your side?
No, I haven't built any new cars, but an interesting project actually, and Will Morganwick is aware of this as a client that we have that's on Evoke content, or actually Evoke Engage, one of those. And what was interesting about it is, and we were looking at different CMS options, and this is a client through Bluebolt. And one of the requirements they had was they needed to be able to publish content on one portal, publish content on one portal. And then they wanted to be able to distribute that content to many other portals, like kind of member portals. We're using the liquid content tools. And one of the things that's interesting is there really wasn't a mechanism for like cloning content from one portal to many portals. And so we could have used some tool like what like what we saw last night, but that's still a lot of manual process. You still have to develop all this stuff and then distribute it to all the, the portals. But what we did was we leveraged the liquid content microservices in order to grab content from one portal and then clone it and publish it and do things with it on the other portals. So we're in the middle of this project. And one of the things we did was we submitted a support request to DNN support. And we said, we're really, would like some sample code because, we're really kind of struggling with putting together there's lots of different services and they're kind of in their infancy as far as documentation. And what was very cool is that on my screen here, I don't know if you can bring that in, if you can see that, but
it's up
on DNN Software's GitHub page, there is a project called DNN Evoke Liquid Content Samples Public. And if you look through there, we were actually surprised. We were expecting them to, give us a couple more Hello World solutions or samples, but you see how many projects are in here. And if you look at the README notes, they've got projects by category. All these projects are connecting to the liquid content services and pulling down and doing something with the content, whether it's an Xamarin mobile application or an Amazon Alexa application, even, a Node.js and React, what is it, liquid content chatbot, an Azure AI and learning machine. I haven't even gone through all these examples, but yeah, just a lot of interesting little geeky projects. So kudos to DNN Corp and their team for putting this together for us. And, Xamarin application, all sorts of things that we could pull down and start another project from.
Perfect. Very good. Very good.
So, one thing I wanted to add there, Scott, if you actually go to builtwithdnn.com, we actually built a microsite blog that has documentation and basically little blog articles that will talk about each of those projects or most of those projects. Some of them don't have a associated blog. And most of those projects also have extensive documentation in terms of walking you through the code, walking you through all of the example bits and showing you how to download an example, the specific example. So there's way more to it than just code. There's lots of documentation there as well.
Nice. Yes, I did not know about this. And so now it's up on my screen. I don't know if you got that, Addison.
I have that.
Builtwithdnn.com. Yeah, great. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. Very good. Very good. I'll definitely check out. And again, all the links that we mentioned here, they'll be all in the show notes. Joe Craig, anything from your side? Anything interesting? What's interesting and wonderful in your world there?
Well, most of the interesting stuff in my life has been home improvements taken to excess. And I was going to ask Scott how the bathroom is coming. I'm working on a kitchen, although not stripping it down to the walls. DNN-wise, I'm kind of in a mode the last couple of months of rebuilding one site and doing some major maintenance on several other sites. So it's nothing new. Maybe a fun addition to one site coming up in the next month or so. So it's I guess that's kind of nose to the grindstone kind of stuff in the DNN world.
Perfect. Okay, great. So in regards to myself, I just want to mention that I came across a guy, his name is Mike Schmeltz. I hope that I'm pronouncing your last name correct, Mike. He has, and we had a meeting just about a week ago where he showed me this DNN control panel that he's working on, and he's already quite in an advanced mode there already. Very interesting. He demonstrates how to use that tool. It's not finished yet. I just want to to bring to your attention that this guy is working on this new what he calls a modern DNN control panel. And one thing that I found interesting on his control panel is the fact that he goes beyond exposing just the DNN features. He went a step beyond, and he is actually doing things like evaluating the site against accessibility and coming up with recommendations and being a little bit being a more of a proactive control panel for DNN. Who knows? The way he positioned that to me is that it would be very useful for DNN 7, DNN 8, and he's not sure about how things will fit within the personal bar and DNN 9. That's up in there. It's not live yet. I'm gonna share the link, but it's not available yet. However, I want to bring him in maybe in a month, maybe in 2 months, once he's ready to do a better presentation of his tool called Shine. It's called Shine, the control panel, a control panel for DNN. Who knows? Let's see how this will go, and I'll be in touch with Mike. I think that's about it. Last thing I want to mention is the DNN tip of the week. I'm keeping up with those every week. I have a new tip. It's under 10 minutes, and hopefully it will add to your tool belt of DNN knowledge, DNN expertise. And again, I'll keep bringing that up every week, once a week. That's my last plug. That's it. I'm done for the day. Anybody else with anything there? Joe, Scott, Joe B, Will, Morgan Wack, anybody?
I just say enjoy summer. We're getting good weather. I hope it's not too warm for our California friends, though.
Perfect. Very good. Very good. Scott, Joe B, and Will have a great first month of summer. We talk again in a month. And by the way, guys, please make sure that you have your DNN sites hot fixed. That's it. Bye.